to talk about spirituality. What is spirituality? I think it's a term that so many of us throw around, or it's thrown around often, that it almost loses its potency, if you will, because it's convoluted so much with other things. Like we equate it a lot of times with religious people, or spirituality is for the woo woo people that are just like out there, with the like crazy crystals, even though I'm one of them. But it can be off-putting for people who are maybe just starting to be exposed to the idea, the concept of what's a spiritual life look like. I know there's something more in my life I'm looking for, and that can come in the form of your passions, your creativity. I would argue that it's all part of the spirituality. It is part of your alignment. Hi, baby. That's my kitty. If you're just joining, this is Taven. And he looks like he's in a good mood right now. So there's that. But this is going to make recording and editing a lot more fun for me. Anyway, now cat hair. Oh, my life through the lens of cat hair. That would be the book, My Life with Cat Hair. Anyway, I wanted to talk about spirituality because I think it is a buzz term that so many people use, and it can mean so many different things. It's purposely a very broad concept. It's a broad definition because it encompasses so many aspects of the human experience. What's the meaning of life? What are we connected to that is beyond us, that is greater than us? Are we connected to something? Is there meaning to life? What is our purpose in this life? Those questions are not simple, even though some would argue they can be. It's all about love. It's all about connection, the golden rule. But at the same time, we know it's not that simple because we go through these dark nights of the soul that really challenge everything we know and everything we believe. So when I say spirituality, I think often it gets jumbled up with religious connotations, which this versatile term, you can be spiritual and religious, and you can be religious and very spiritual, but you can also be spiritual and not religious at all, and vice versa. You can also be religious and not spiritual at all, and we know that especially now in the world right now. But spirituality it's just the search for more, the search for our place in all of this, like why we're here. What is it to be spiritual? I think a spiritual person is someone who is looking to expand their consciousness and their awareness. And that can come in a lot of different levels, in a lot of different ways, through a lot of different means. There's different points in our life, when you're a teenager and you realize the world's bigger and you just start understanding responsibility and the trajectory of your life. And when you're, mid-20s or coming up on 30 and you start realizing mortality is a thing, you're young, but you're also not young anymore. And I think especially around 40, we talk about midlife crisis. There are these points where we have to examine ourselves. What are we here for? What are we doing? Are we doing what makes us happy with this life? Do we feel fulfilled? And one of the things that really prompted a lot of my spiritual awakening, or when I really started pursuing more in depth, when I started awakening, expanding my awareness to the more of life, what I needed, it was Chelsea Handler's book, Life Will Be the Death of Me. And knowing who Chelsea Handler was early in her career and the persona she had of, the drunken comedian and like just the loose lady who, unabashedly goes out and does what she wants, empowered woman now. But seeing her go through her spiritual awakening to start examine her past, her family, why a lot of her behaviors, the death of her brother was a big one, that how it impacted her. By going through therapy, it actually led her on a deeper journey to like actually doing ayahuasca. And it's just fascinating. Check it out. Life Will Be the Death of Me. But after reading that, going through a major life shift, ending my marriage, separating, starting over again as a new individual, that was my spiritual awakening, because I started realizing I wasn't living the life I was meant to. I wasn't living up to my potential. I wasn't happy on an intrinsic level with where it was going, and I had to change it. And spiritual awakenings are not easy. They are not easy at all. They're actually really hard. They're really difficult. And there's a variance. I'm sure it's not comparing each of our journeys, but we will always come to a point where we are forced to reinvent ourselves, where we need to take stock and to examine, live a life examined. And if it's not meeting up to what we know, that doesn't just go away. Then we start to medicate, then we start to avoid. And when we do that, we start becoming depressed, we start getting anxiety, we start living in fear and out of alignment with who we truly are and what we're supposed to be doing to make us happy, to being fulfilled. And only you can tell yourself, only yourself knows what those things are. And it's different for all of us. There's no right or wrong, it's just your truth. But you don't find that truth, you don't step into that power unless you do the work of sitting with your shadows, your dark, with your ugly, with the truth and reality of who you are and where you're at, and your actions, taking ownership. That's what started a lot of my stuff, where I had been interested in psychics and mediums and occult and like magic and stuff like that, even though I never practiced or did any of it or really went, invested in it. It was always on the periphery. Something in me was drawn to it and wanted to know more. It wanted to expand my understanding of the unseen realms. I needed to discover what I needed to discover about myself, my path, where I was going. And if you are there, if you have any resonance, then pay attention to this. This is for you. This is why I'm putting this out here. Why I'm starting this divinity brand is because I want to help connect people with their authentic selves, with their intuitive voice, which will help you in that expansion, that spiritual awakening. But I also want to encourage you, if you're not a spiritual person, if you don't look at the world that way, if you don't believe in stuff, you don't have to be religious or even believe in God or the other or the ether, or you can be an atheist and still be a spiritual person. And I say that some of the most spiritual people I've ever met in my life have been scientists, have been atheists. When I got kicked out of my house, my religious father told me I had to go to a conversion ministry, which I did for 6 months to stay in my house. And when I told him I couldn't do it, I knew it was not authentic to me. I could not go through this cycle of shame and guilt, and I had to break free. He kicked me out that same night. And the person who took me in was my dear, dear friend Lee. And she was a retired nurse and just, God, so, like the classic, hippie, like progressive thinker. She like was marching in the 60s, like just amazing human, adopted children. And she was a staunch, how can God exist with all of this shit in the world? But it was her humanity and her humanism and belief that we are the light. We are what we need to rescue ourselves, to save ourselves, to better the world. We are the ones that take care of each other. That is one of the most spiritual lessons I've ever learned from someone. She took me in my lowest. It just, you don't have to believe in something to be a spiritual person, even though I would argue that you believe in something, it's just in a different form. Like, again, humanity, what makes us come together. And we see these things in art. If you've ever seen a piece of art that just ignites your soul, just makes you feel alive, that touches something, music, we get sappy in a movie, like art moves us for a reason. And I think that's the same thing of what spirituality is, the deeper understanding, the expansive understanding of we are connected to each other, to something greater. And that can be the collective, that can be human history, this progression, this line, this lineage that we all come from. We're only here because of those who have gone before us. However you define that, it can be a spiritual exploration. And I just want to encourage that. Open your mind to the concept and broaden what your understanding of this could be. again, religion and esoteric traditions, they can play a very important. Buddhism really spoke to me when I first started exploring. After I came out and I was on my own, I got into yoga and Tai Chi, and those traditions. I still practice yoga weekly. I should do it every other day, but I swear by it because I knew the principles and the concepts of what it stood for, what it represented, resonated deeply with me, and it helped bring alignment. It helped expand my awareness of myself, of my like the energetic universe around me, but also that illustrious tradition that has gone on for millennia. It's just amazing once you start connecting to something other than yourself, outside yourself. Donating, volunteering, that can be spiritual, a spiritual act. So just broaden your ideas of what spirituality can mean and be for you. For me, my spiritual journey, I got kicked out because she gay, and that just didn't vibe with my religious upbringing. And so that caused me to start looking for more spiritual outlets. Granted, I think I have always been spiritually minded. I've always been drawn to the mystical. As a kid, it was books on witches and mythology and monsters, and I know that resonates with so many of us. It's that looking for the other, the supernatural, the special, the odd. But one of the defining moments that when I knew, looking back now too, it was when Madonna, this had to be what? I was 11, so 94 ish. Madonna's bedtime stories came out, and she put out the bedtime story video, music video, and it changed my world. Like, she, out of all the divas, I would argue is the most spiritual. Just her exploration and throughout her career, her reinventions. She's always like the esoteric, even just her name, Madonna, playing it, with the Catholicism and, the powerful feminine. Anyway, uh, bedtime stories. She is this like virgin in a white dress, pregnant, floating around with like crazy eyes. There's whirling dervishes. There's like little kids like looking off in like these Zen rooms with like flowing rivers and cubes with eyes all over them. Like it was wild, wild. I think the video starts with her hooked up into a machine, like she's in like a salt tank or something, and like this is all projection. The whole point of the song, I didn't realize even at that age, was talking about becoming unconscious, dipping into the unconscious. I knew I was drawn to all of this esoteric symbolism, the dervishes, like the sacred geometry, the virgin birth. I think that at one point, like doves burst out of her stomach. She gives birth to peace in the form of the metaphor. I was so into it. One, because I'm gay. Two, because I'm built this way. I've just always been drawn to the symbolism of myth too. So I was spiritual early. This has been a big part of my journey, hence why I'm doing what I'm doing now. Church, my sexuality, going to that conversion ministry, it prompted my spiritual awakening, the first, which was, I would say, a spiritual awakening, diet awakening, light awakening, because I spent many years avoiding a lot of my truths. I was avoiding the wounds rather than doing the healing. I didn't have the tools or know-how. I wasn't in a family that knew how. I'd never went to therapy, so I just perpetuated a lot of this pain and trauma and these behaviors and patterns until it was time, because your soul will always get you where it needs to get you. It will never stop asking you. It will never stop or go away. Like, you can avoid it and you can suppress it, but then other things are going to manifest. Your soul's voice will only get louder in the end. So don't avoid it, is what I'm trying to say, because it's work, but it is nothing. Oh, it's so beautiful on the other side. It's just, I can't describe it, how much peace and love and empowerment come on the other side of that work, of facing your fears, of standing in your power, of owning your truth. We can get into that. It's all spirituality, right? I always say your spirituality should be as profound as it is practical. it should be mystical, but it should also be the daily stuff like, taking care of yourself, taking care of your family, doing the dishes, doing the laundry. Those can be spiritual acts too because they keep you in a healthy state. They keep you showing up and living life and just being present, which is a very aware, meditation and presence, just being mindful is a spiritual practice. I I love this quote by Walt Whitman. Walt Whitman and Maya Angelou, but Walt Whitman is one of my sages from an early age. You're forced to read Leaves of Grass in high school. I didn't even know I was gay, but I knew I had an affinity and a connection to this man and his writing. The sexuality was there, his unabashed, unapologetic nature, but also the innuendos and like just his writing and his love for the human, especially human men. But anyway, the way he looked at the world in 1850s, like it was just so awesome to me. Like I just had such a deep resonance. Like he spoke to my soul. In one of the poems in Leaves of Grass, there's a line. I think it starts out, "This is what you should do," but he says, "Re-examine all that you have been told in school or in a church or any sacred book, and dismiss whatever insults your own soul. Just throw it out. And your flesh shall be a great poem." Ugh. Let me say it again. Take whatever you've been taught in school or fed or told is right, and like any book, any education, anything that you've been given and told on how you should be, what society is, what life is meant to be. And if it insults, if it does not resonate within you, within your being, your core of who you know yourself to be, throw it away, dismiss it. That's what I had to do with the conversion ministry. I knew there was a man in that ministry who had been in this cycle, bless his heart, for 5 years, I think. And I knew the cycle he was in, what they were telling me, what they were feeding us was not truth. It was not my truth. And I had to make a choice. And it's these moments, these choices that launch and propel our life in new directions. You always have a choice. That's our only power now in the moment. We have a choice. That's the only thing that no one can take away from us. There's always a choice. And it's up to you to navigate and steer your life according to the directions of your soul. If it insults your soul, release it. Let it go. It's not for you. That simple. If you start doing that, it will bring you so much peace. It's hard at first, but once you start walking in that alignment, once you start realigning with that flow, there's a flow, guys, like that your life, just things go your way differently because you're going with the flow of your life. You're using your giftings. You are doing work that is meaningful to you, that makes you feel alive in the morning when you wake up. It gives you energy and vitality. You surround yourself with people that build you up and increase your love for yourself and the world around you. You surround yourself with beauty and art. You're communing with nature, whether that's going to the beach or just a walk outside at sunset. And if you can take in that moment, in the present moment, and be there, it is a different existence. There is a level of peace and joy and just exceptional beauty all around you, a connectedness that I can't explain. And I want to promise this for you. It is hard to get there sometimes, but you will. If you're looking for it, you will. Spirit is always there to guide us, but whether you believe that or not, I know my opinion. I just want to offer this for you. Start considering what spirituality is for you. Do you want to start looking for more? Do you want to open up to it? What does that mean for you? What does that look like? Is there something you've been drawn to? Have you been curious about taking a yoga class? It can be that simple. Is there a book that you've been wanting to read on, chakras, energy, like manifesting? You hear all these buzz terms, angel numbers, or twin flames. Oh, we love our romance connections, right? but maybe even deeper, like the spiritual workings of the universe, quantum theory, like that can be spiritual too. What resonates with you? What makes you want to come alive and learn? What ignites that spark in you? That's what you follow. That's what you should be going for. That's where you need to walk. That's the direction. And make sure the people you're surrounding yourself with, that you have in your life daily, are people that build you up. They include you, that they edify you as much as you edify them. If they pour into you like you pour into them. I love spirituality, and I have so many different recommendations on books, and I'm going to put them below. Just a little book list. I am going to start a book club, the Divinity Book Club, in a while. It's coming down the way. I don't know when I want to do it yet, but I want to dig into this stuff with people who are excited and just as hungry for this change and this growth and this expansion as I am. So be on the lookout for that soon. I'm going to do something first. We're going to play a game with the universe. It's going to be a challenge I'm going to start, and I'm going to try and get some people involved and see what you guys think about this. I want to get the conversation going. I want to start building this community. I am looking for my tribe. I want to commune. I want you guys to speak into my life like I'm speaking into yours. So I'm looking for you. Let me know your experiences, and please share this if it's resonating with you, because that will help me get the word out, but also help me connect and help me just find the people I'm meant to connect with, and that includes you. If this is resonating, it's meant for you. If you want to start chatting and talking now, I'm there. I'm ready. I'm finding our people. So again, Discord, it's the Garden of Divinity. Be on the lookout for the book club coming and the E² challenge. Please, please, please like and subscribe, follow, hit all the buttons, do all the things. This algorithm shit, I know it's going to happen the way it should, when it should, but I'll play the game. But I won't be able to do it without you guys. And that's the truth. So if this made you smile, if you're still watching to the end, please help me out. And I promise I'll keep bringing good content for you. Let's grow together. I love you, and I hope you guys have an amazing day. Leave me a comment. Let's talk. I'll see you soon.